My name's Alexa, Operations Manager over at the BPM Ria office. I have some amazing presenters here with me today for our webinar, Realtors Gone Wild. This is going to be PG, I promise, don't worry. We have Anish Dave, our CEO here at BPM Ria, which stands for Broward, Palm Beach, Miami Real Estate Investors Association, your only approved chapter of the National RIA here in South Florida. And then we have some amazing people here with us today from Charles Rutenberg Realty, Fort Lauderdale, Michelle Sesser and Lady Cara. I'll let them introduce themselves in just a moment. Quick announcement for you guys. We are raffling off a membership today. So if you'd like a chance to win the membership to BPM Ria for 1 year, text the word membership to our event line, 954-800-6961. Don't call this number, don't text this number, or just don't call this number. This is just for events and raffles. So there's nobody going to answer your call. If you have any questions about this, let me know. You can always send me a message directly, but if you want to win the raffle, text the word membership to that number and I put it in the chat for you guys because we're going to keep on rolling. And if you already have a membership, we'll go ahead and add 1 year to your current membership. Awesome. All righty. Some announcemements. We have a ton of upcoming events. Go ahead and check out our calendar on the website. Go to bpmria.com. Go to the upcoming events tab. Link is in the chat. And we have a ton of wonderful webinars coming up for you guys. 2 webinars next week. We'll have the Realty Medics. We're going to do the power of mentoring with BPM Ria mentors. And then our monthly meeting guide, so much coming up. So go ahead and register for all of these free webinars that are coming up. And then anyone who doesn't already know, which you guys should definitely know, we have our BPM Quick Start coming up. This may or may not be the last training of the year. So take advantage. If you want to meet 4 people from our power team, we have 4 incredible speakers on there. I'll throw the link in the chat for you guys so you can run through the topics that we cover and all the awesome things that are involved in the Quick Start. Go ahead and check out that link, get more information. Also respond to this poll and I will give you a call today and we can kind of chat and see if this is a good fit for you. It is a 2 full day training, both Saturday and Sunday, live on Zoom. It's entirely led by Anish, our CEO and lead mentor. It's really great. Also, money back guarantee. So never have to use it, but it's there. So if you have any questions about the Quick Start, go ahead and respond to the poll. Thank you guys for responding to the poll. I appreciate it. And I will be in touch with you. All righty. If you want to keep up with our events via text, my favorite way, if you ask me, go ahead and text BPM REIA, all one word, to our event line to get those text updates when we have an event coming up. And I'll go ahead and put that in the chat for you guys. Move right along here. Quick Start. So as you know, we do have this coming up. It is 2 weeks away. Members $525, non-members $595. Complete money back guarantee. Link is in the chat for you guys. So you can see the 4 incredible speakers that we'll have on there. Like I said, this entire training is led by Anish. So if you're even thinking about joining the mentoring and coaching program, highly recommend you try the Quick Start. And if you may not know what we're doing behind the scenes and you're kind of curious, again, the Quick Start is a great place for you to go and learn how we do things, why we do it, what we're doing, all of those things. So, all right. And as you know, our members get huge discounts. You can see they get discounts for the Quick Start. They get into the networking meetings for free. They get discounts to all of our seminars and workshops, as well as their guests. And last but not least, the National RIA benefit package. Super important. You get tons of discounts from so many vendors, such as Home Depot, Arcana Insurance, which is now MSI. We still have Office Depot, but it's now called Office Depot Business, and so many amazing vendors, Avis, Budget, so many. And we do have these opportunities for our business members as well, to be able to get on the website and do webinars with us and so many amazing things that are involved in becoming a corporate member or a vendor partner. So give me a call or email. I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat for you guys. If you have any questions about memberships, I'll be more than happy to let you know. And thank you guys so much for responding to this poll. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be in touch with everybody who responds to this poll today. Awesome. And one-on-one coaching and mentoring. As many of you know, but some of you don't, we do offer one-on-one coaching where you actually are partnered with a mentor, and we talk about your goals, and we go ahead and put you in the coaching program. So if you have any questions about the coaching program, go ahead and schedule a discovery call where I can give you a complete breakdown of everything we include in the program for you to be successful, pricing, any details that you want to know. I will be more than happy to schedule this call with you, and you can go ahead and do that right now. So go ahead and check out the website, book a discovery call. This is my direct line. And like I said, I'm definitely putting my email in the chat for you guys. And thank you guys for responding to the polls. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll be in touch with all of you who are answering this poll. So thank you guys. And thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to National RIA, all of our vendor partners. Thank you, Anish. Thank you to our speakers that are here today, Lady and Michelle. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Thank you for everyone who's in this webinar right now. Like Anish said, we wish we got this one posted sooner. We've been meaning to do this. We're doing things different. We're doing different webinars. We're doing a webinar on our Friday, which is crazy. So thank you guys so much for taking your time today to be here. And I'm going to let these guys take control of this meeting. So thank you, Anish.
Awesome. Thanks, Alexa. So welcome, guys. And just, I see a lot of familiar faces. I see some new faces actually on this webinar. So my quick background, my name is Anish Dave, president of BPM RIA. We were formerly known as BRIA, or the Miami-Dade RIA also. I've been the owner of BRIA, BPM RIA for 10 plus years. My personal background, I've been a licensed real estate agent since 2003. I think I had some hair, I'm not sure. I know Lady for probably that long, so maybe she might have like an old picture with me with some hair that she could probably blackmail me on. I'm also a licensed mortgage guy for a bunch of years. And, I know we talk about investments, and one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of do this webinar a little bit today was everyone always asks me, hey, should I get my real estate license or not? Is it going to affect it? And, one of the coolest things is that, and I'll let them introduce themselves also, Michelle and Lady, that, oh gosh, I think we've been on over a decade. I probably have had my license with you guys for probably a total of 12 or 14 years. I made the mistake and I went somewhere else. And then I came back crawling saying, please take me back. A lot of you guys are licensed real estate agents on this call. And depending on your brokerage, right? Some of your brokerages, someone's always asked me like, hey, they don't want me to be an investor. So I'm going to start with, Charles Rutenberg Realty is with, I know we have well over 1,000 plus agents here in South Florida. What I can tell you is almost all the wholesalers and investors have their license with Charles Rutenberg Realty. Their service is phenomenal. Like they're cutting edge on service and teamwork, and it still amazes me what kind of organization that they've built as a network. And what I'm going to let you guys, Michelle, Lady, whoever you guys want to introduce, give a little introduction about yourselves, who you guys are.
Good morning. Lady, do you want to start off?
Good morning. I'm Lady with Charles Rutenberg Realty. I've been with the office for about 17 years, same as Anish. Anish has been with our office for, I just looked it up, 17 years, 2005. So,
Okay.
And we have over 1,000 agents. We've been in business for almost 20 years. And, you know, we're looking to growing our company even more. So go ahead, Michelle.
And my name is Michelle, and we are both the brokers here at Charles Rutenberg Realty. And we look forward to, you know, telling you all about Charles Rutenberg and why you should get your license. I mean, you know, the question is, you said something about getting, should you get your license when you're an investor? And my answer would be, why wouldn't you? You know, why wouldn't you get your license? But I've been in the business for about I've been here for about 10 years, just over 10 years, and I've been in the business for, unfortunately, about 30. So I'd like to say that I started when I was 5, but that won't work anymore. So anyways, I can provide some experience in real estate and title and all of that. So I welcome any
Awesome.
questions you may have, and go
Yeah,
ahead.
and guys, just so you know, some house rules, if you guys have been following us, remember, put your questions in the Q&A so we could get, you know, keep track of it versus the chat, and we'll get to the questions too. And today's really truly informal, right? So we kind of, you know, call this event Realtors Gone Wild. And so we always laugh. So the funny part is also Michelle is from Ohio, the Big Ten. If you're an Ohio State fan, she will definitely answer your phone call faster than a non-Ohio State fan. That means you Michigan guys. So if you don't have no idea what I'm talking about, that's okay. And ladies also from Colombia, from Medellin, where my wife's from. So she always answers my call because, you know, those Colombians stick together too. So that's part of it, but we're just kind of, we always joke about it. And the relationship that we've always had between, you know, us as brokers, them as brokers, and me as a real estate agent has been awesome. So let's talk about, right? Like, I know you guys have seen the bird's eye view of stuff. So there's a lot of realtors out there, right? So what are some of the best practices that you guys have seen from your top performing realtors in general? Either one of you guys could kind of answer that. So,
Lady, okay, so I guess I'll take that one. Yes, so best practices. I mean, I would say obviously always being proactive in your education, expanding your knowledge base. I mean, attending some of your sessions, you know, learning how to be better educated is going to be the best way to practice, because you're going to be able to assist your clients even better, give them more professional service. So I hope that's what you were looking for with that one.
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, well, the funny part is, right? Like, I mean, I know there's people that have their license and they do it part-time also. And, you know, some of them are really successful. They're just even doing, you know, deals for their quote unquote family, or they're part of a power team, right? They're working with investors that are fixing up houses, right? And they don't want to be a real estate agent. So like, you know, I mean, I'm both, right? Dual. So I know one of the issues that for whatever reason, investors don't like disclosing that they're a licensed real estate agent. Can we talk about why they need to? Because of the obvious on that portion.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it's regulated by the state. I mean, when you get your license, one of the things that you agreed to do is to disclose that you are a licensed realtor. It's to best protect yourself. It's to best protect the public. We have a license as a professional, right? And to get that professional license, we have to agree to protect the public. And so protecting the public means disclosing that when you're licensed, because years ago there was issues with dual agency. We are actually a transaction broker state. 99% of the brokerages act as transaction brokers, so you can represent the transaction, and it wouldn't be an issue. But dual agency was, I guess, why in all history why we had to start disclosing, because they didn't want people not representing the other parties properly and so forth. And so they needed to know that when an agent was licensed or not. Right.
I mean, I obviously with 1,000+ agents and all, you know, the experience that you guys have seen, we won't use any names, right? What have you seen as investors, like when they haven't disclosed? Have you guys had, as brokers or managers or all the above, where you've gotten a call from, I don't want to say an attorney, another agent, a homeowner? Have you seen, or like what does that look like? I mean, when they call, on that mistake, on that end of it.
Lady, you want to hit that one, or do you want me to?
Yes, we've had, luckily, I don't think it has, gone to like a lawsuit or attorneys, but we have gotten those calls from other realtors or from clients stating that, the agent did not disclose. And, we always have to address it right away with the agent to avoid, legal issues.
Yeah, I mean, like if you want to get in trouble with your broker, don't follow their rules. That's what I'm telling you. Like, you do not want to call. I always cringe. Hopefully over the 17 years, there has been too many calls. If I get a call from Lady, it's not usually like, hey, what's up? It's because I dropped the ball somewhere. Right. So the key is, like, because I know some of you guys, put in a chat if you are a licensed agent also. So, even if you're not, I mean, as long as you're still practicing, meaning to an extent you have to disclose. What I can tell you on the investor side is homeowners don't care, right? Like, put that addendum in there that your, personal, what's the addendum called again? Personal disclosure, no, personal property, I forget what it's called, that.
Personal interest disclosure.
Personal interest disclosure, right? Just add that in, right? Let them know that there's no commissions on it. But you want to make sure, because when things go wrong, it becomes a problem. And actually, the second part of that question actually is, would you have to disclose, right? I mean, I know the answer, but would you have to disclose if I'm buying it in a company name, right? I'm buying it in BPM RIA, it's not in my personal name. Do I still have to put that disclosure in there?
Yes, I was hoping you were going to hit that too, because that is one of the problems that we see, is that agents think that, well, I'm buying it in my LLC or in my land trust or whatever, so they think that they don't need to disclose. But by law, you have a personal interest in the property that you're purchasing or selling, so you must disclose. So yes. So please remember that. So
yeah, and again, because you work really hard for your license, right? And it'd be silly on these little things to actually run into that kind of issue. So I know someone's kind of asking too. So Charles Rubenberg Realty, just so you guys know, we do have over 1,000 agents down here. We are 100% commission, and it's 300 and transaction fee 335, 350, 380, 350. So our transaction fee is, do you guys want to talk about, because I'm getting a couple private messages on that about what Charles Rubenberg, how it works a little bit too.
Yeah, I'm seeing them in the chat, in the Q&A as well. So we can do a quick overview. Do you want to do it, Lady, or do you would like me to do it?
Go ahead, you can go ahead and do it.
Oh, okay. So yes, we're 100% commission company, or transaction fee based company is another way to look at it. We charge a monthly membership fee of $35 a month. That is, no matter if you do a deal or not, you are charged $35. That's only $420 for the year. So it's pretty reasonable, because we provide support like you're paying us thousands and thousands of dollars per year. Our transaction fee is $350 per sales transaction. Now, full disclosure, because I'm all about full disclosure here, is $400 is the charge if you are the personal interest in purchasing or selling the house. So if you are the principal in this transaction, we're going to charge you $400 rather than the $350, as it is a higher liability for an agent to represent themselves and get themselves into hot water sometimes. So therefore, we charge more for the errors and omissions liability insurance. And then just quick overview on rentals and referral commissions. If you are looking to refer a client to another agent, and you receive a referral compensation, or if you rent out a property, we charge 10% of the commission that you earned up to a maximum dollar amount of $295. So I always like to give an example of say you rented out a unit for $2,000 a month, your compensation would be $1,000. Even as an investor, if you don't take that as a commission, we still will charge you the $100, the 10%, for putting it in the MLS and for protecting all the parties with that. So there's the answer to that.
And the other thing is also one of the other things that, because we actually went to a conference in Orlando, so we are actually tied into United Realty, not local United. I know there's local United Realty. It's different. We're based out of Texas, and I think we're up to what, 8,000 agents or 10,000. I don't even know what they are now. Like, you probably know that stuff.
Yeah. So some exciting news, being part of the United Real Estate Network, we just became the 7th largest in the nation. And we are 6 times running as this, increasing our growth. 6 years in a row, we went from 139th in the last 2 years to 7th largest in the nation. And we're about 17,500 agents nationwide, I believe they say. So that's pretty exciting. We have a nice sphere of agents to refer to. And I know Anish met a lot of great agents to get referral clients from across the country at the conference. So.
Yeah, and to also let you guys know, on these listings, like, you'll be responsible putting up your own MLS listings. They have a ton of education constantly. So it is a good brokerage, whether you're new or experienced. We have all different types, and they've actually added a little coaching program for realtors too. So that's something else that's coming up too. So obviously, if I've been with you guys for 17 years, I must like you a little bit, I guess, is an understatement too. So yeah, I know we're getting a lot of those questions in there too. So let's talk about, right? Someone's even asked, so what do you guys are seeing? Obviously, it was a hot market, or super hot. What are you guys seeing on transactions wise locally? Like in the last, I don't know, what do you want to use? Last 6 months, 3 months, or since the feds went up on interest rate? You could give me, what we've seen on our brokerage side, because I'm kind of curious on that.
Yeah. So lady's not saying anything. Did you notice that?
Well, it's you know why? Because we Michelle and I always talk way too much. If lady doesn't jump in, we can't be waiting around for you.
Yeah. So okay. So I guess I'll cover the market. We're seeing, I'm calling it a cooling off period. That's what we're hearing from even other, economists and so forth. That's what we're calling it, is a cooling off period, to get it a little more balanced. Obviously, we were in a pure sellers market, and buyers. I mean, I'm sure the investors were having a hard time finding reasonable priced properties for a while there. And you're competing with buyers that are just willing to pay 50 and 60,000 above the price, and we've seen more than that too, but unfortunately. So anyway, so yeah, we're seeing it in the last few months be a little more of a calming and a cooling effect and in pricing, which the interest rates, of course, had something to do with it. I don't like to blame it on the interest rates, because listen, if you look in the 30-year trajectory of back, we're still really low on interest rates. So it's a matter of that we in this area are in a hot market, a desirable market that everyone wants, because everyone says because we stayed open during the pandemic or whatever the reason, they want to come here. No tax, no state taxes. So and then you add in the beaches. So we're still hot market as far as getting the dollar amount for your, return, I would say, but it's starting to balance a little bit more on inventories coming back up a little bit, and the prices will start to come back down a little bit to make a more balanced market, I hope.
Are you noticing, just out of curiosity, whether, when you're saying the cooling off, whether it's luxury, affordable housing? I know sometimes, because like a lot of people, same thing, right? Hey, the market's this. I'm like, well, yeah, downtown, Miami's a little bit different than, affordable housing, if there is any here anymore here in, Fort Lauderdale, right? Or, like some of these little working class neighborhoods versus, pre-construction. I live in downtown Las Olas. Let me tell you what's still going on here. I mean, the amount of buildings that are coming up at our luxury, it's out of control on that portion. So are you seeing it all across the board, or I know it's kind of hard to mitigate that. It's just because since we have so many agents, are you noticing like it's been higher dollar amount versus lower dollar amount on the sales, or what have you been noticing?
Well, I would say actually that we're seeing the cooling period being affecting the luxury market first. I'm seeing the price reductions come in on those higher dollar amount places. But that being said, they're still selling. I mean, it's not like they're not. It's just they were up so high that that we didn't have any affordable housing here in our area. I'm sure we're all in agreement with that. The rents have went crazy as well. Obviously, Broward County and Miami-Dade County ended up instituting a rule that if you raise your rent for your tenant more than 5%, that you had to give them 60-day notice to be able to adjust to that, and 60 days to vacate and all that kind of stuff. So they put in new ordinances countywide to protect tenants because people were raising the rents to match what the market was taking in so much. So I'm sure everyone saw it on the news, people were getting, huge increases in their monthly rents. And that has to do with the price of homes being up so high. And obviously now we're seeing it maybe start to cushion a little bit, I think.
Yeah, is that what's funny? Like I didn't even know, but I knew they were talking about the ordinance. I didn't know it went through. Is that all 3 counties or
I did not see it happen in Palm Beach yet, but I did see it in Miami-Dade and Broward. And that was back in May. They instituted it for both. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So hopefully, you landlords out there, don't be violating this stuff, put the right notices in there.
Yeah.
On that portion. So it makes a big difference too. Let's kind of talk about that too, because you've probably seen, as a realtor and, working with investors, like fair housing, right? So what have you guys, she's like, fair, like, what have you seen? Because because I know a lot of you guys on the call today are investors, right? And I hear, hey, I want to build a portfolio. You have to, follow fair housing. So what have you guys, even as agents, under our brokerage, are you seeing agents make mistakes or investors or giving, I don't want to say bad advice or I don't know, whatever the right way to frame that about fair housing?
Lady, you want to try that one?
Yes, we have, there are testers out there. So we've gotten a couple of lawsuits regarding to fair housing, Section 8, because they can't deny a tenant due to Section 8. So that's one of the most common ones. So
you know what the funny part is? So I used to rent a ton of properties to Section 8. I used to love those tenants actually, because with Section 8, if you guys don't know, the county, subsidize it. So every first of the month, guess what? I got a check.
Right, your money is guaranteed.
Yeah, and the funny part is like, I feel like sometimes they get a bad rap. Like you still want to do credit checks. You still want to do these things. And a lot of time, like all my Section 8 tenants were single moms with kids. And that voucher, if you guys don't know, is like gold. So they do not want to mess that up, right? Like they mess up your place, they do this thing. If there's, I don't know, like drugs or alcohol, something like that, they're going to lose their voucher. So, and the funny part is, so I have some investors that I used to wholesale houses to that they loved Section 8. That's what they specialized in. So again, these are tools that you want to pick up as you're going in your real estate business too. So I think that's one of the things that we always run into. And I thought, what Michelle's talking about is pretty important, saying there is a cooling period off. That's what's happening, but there's still deals out there. So a lot of you guys, we've been doing webinars, how to find off-market deals, right? So it's a good time to pivot, right? Like, hey, if you've been the one trick pony and all you've been doing is a real estate agent, again, there's no good or bad. Well, maybe you want to become an investor too, and you could do both, right? So if your brokerage doesn't agree that, hey, you can't be an investor and a realtor, you might want to, move to a different brokerage is what I'll tell you, because I get that call, a lot of people like, oh, my broker doesn't want me to become an investor. I'm like, yeah, because, if you have different kind of splits, right, it's not beneficial for them if you're actually flipping houses versus Charles Lindbergh, they're transaction based, right? So as you're rehabbing the house, they don't care if you make, X amount, $100,000 on the house. Their flat fee transaction is they still get paid. They want you to do more transactions. So I think that's always different than other companies out there. And I guess we could kind of even talk about that too. And I won't name any other companies, but what's the difference between, I don't know, some of the well-known companies that have been around that, people like, hey, I think I want my license there versus a transactional brokerage. Like, what have you guys seen in the last 20 years, right? Everything's changed, right? On that end, when we first started, I mean, there was still the internet. But it was very different.
Okay, I'm going to date myself and say that actually when I started in real estate, they actually were still using the books, the MLS books. So that actually does date me that it was and everything was coming out on dot matrix type of printers and just doing those type of entry, DOS.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're born in 1990, Google dot matrix printer and you'll see what we're talking about.
Exactly. If you're exactly. So I'm just dating myself there. But yeah, the change has definitely been that we're seeing more and more 100% shops or transaction fee shops, open up. I mean, it's not unheard of now that there's multiples now versus going to a traditional, as they used to call it, traditional brokerage, which now I think we are the traditional model. The more traditional model is the traditional models are going to charge you huge splits to be a part of their firm and to support their lifestyle, so to speak, the brokerage lifestyle. And some of them won't allow investors to join them. A lot of them won't. So because they get an investor is not taking a compensation and they don't allow you to waive your compensation. At Charles Rettenberg, you're allowed to waive your compensation. If you don't want to take a commission, because obviously you can offer that to the seller, or you can offer it as a seller, you can, use that as more return on your dollar amounts. That's fine. Our fee is our fee. That as long as we get our transaction fee, we're happy. So I hope I'm answering that question.
Yeah, absolutely.
What
about? Yeah, what I was going to say is like, like you're kind of talking about that. I think the way on the realtor end of it, and I'm also going to say on the investment end of it, it's going to sound weird. It's not as much as the brokerage versus the person. I think the branding has changed. Like I know, like, and I'll just, because she's part of our brokerage, like Wendy, right? Wendy crushes it. And, she does a ton of luxury and her numbers are massive. And, she really brands herself first on that end of it. And I'm thinking like, she's, I don't know, would she sell? I don't want to put her too much on the spot, but like she's probably sold like $15-20 million worth of real estate. And if she had some big splits versus a flat transaction fee, she would have been giving away a lot of money on that brokerage. On that too. So I think, with technology, what's happening again with United Realty, like they have on the back end, they have, really stepped up their game on the branding and the CRM portion versus some of the other companies out there that, I could tell you firsthand, I was even surprised on what they're doing.
Yeah. And I'm seeing a couple questions in the thing here, but I think we should address, but yes, the whole agent productivity platform that our United Home Office has brought on board allows the agents to take their business to the next level, and it's all free. But
Yeah.
when you go to another, and you're right, as far as the clients are hiring the agent specifically, they're not hiring a brand. It's been proven over and over again. National Association of Realtors stated it back in like 2012. You know, they did a whole poll, and I mean, basically a client is going to hire an agent over a brand, because, you know, what is the brand going to do, especially now in this day and age with the internet and with every broker having all the IDX feeds that they want. They can, you know, it syndicates to everywhere, you know, your listings syndicate everywhere. So, I mean, we're all giving the same things. It's just, are we giving the same professional courtesy, you know, professional service? So,
Yeah. So this is a good question, Harry, and he's right about this. Like, you know, a lot of times that, you know, we work with investors. So this is more of a general question, where, you know, they have a listing, and as cash buyers, you know, like their agent, you know, they're not a Charles Lindbergh agent. They're another company's agent, because our agents are number one. And they're not, you know, responsive, and they want to cancel the listing with them, and they don't know, like they're not getting in touch with their agent, right? Or their agent's not responding. I've seen it where they've actually got the listing agreement and it was never listed on the MLS. Or they want to cancel and they can't find the listing agreement that they signed for whatever reason, right? A lot of times, unfortunately, homeowners don't know where that is. What can they do, you know, and say, like, I'm the investor and they want to sell me the house, right? Of course, I'm going to disclose, you know, I'm an agent, all that other good stuff, but it's listed and they want to cancel a listing. What, as being brokers, what would be the best course of action to try to, you know, for the homeowner to cancel listing? Because like, I know I can't call the, you know, XYZ broker and say, hey, you know, John wants to cancel his listing. They're going to say, who in the heck are you? Right, on that end of it. What would you say would be a good way to actually, I don't know, to get around that, meaning kind of fix it?
Well, if the property is listed, you know, you don't want to get involved in a ethics complaint or violation. So you have to contact that broker or that listing agent.
The homeowner does. And what happens if the homeowner, right, on that? And so I know some of, you know, so some of you guys might not be agents, but on a listing agent, there's also sometimes a cancellation fee.
Correct.
Sometimes agents will put that in there, X amount to cancel. Sometimes they put 0. Sometimes they leave it blank on that end of it. So the question is, if they're not responsive, right? John, the realtor, is not responding whatsoever. It, you know, hey, I want to cancel, I want out on that end of it. What would you tell the homeowner, or the investor should tell the homeowner to do what?
They have to contact the broker.
The broker, right?
The broker, correct.
Okay.
And yeah, we don't know what the listing agreement says, if they have a cancellation fee. So yeah, they have to contact the broker if the agent's not responsive.
And what happens if, right? I know there's agent brokers, or there's brokers that are, I know you guys are very responsive, but you know, some brokers are not, and the broker doesn't respond, and you do it via like email. Do you send a certified letter? Like, what would be the next steps that you guys would suggest?
They could file a complaint with the local realtor association, that they have a non-responsive broker or agent. And then that association will typically take a civilian, you know, so to speak, you know, a client complaint very seriously and reach out themselves to the broker. They can also, I mean, they do of course have recourse as far as they could file a state complaint at the Department of Business and Professional Regulation regarding the agent. Now, they would have to have really violated something, but you know, the state law requires that your listing be returned to you, signed and executed, to be a valid listing agreement. So if they have it signed and executed, but then it never went into the MLS, that is also a breach of the listing agreement. So that's another thing that they could state as well. So.
Yeah, and so on that part, so, you know, I'm the homeowner, I sign a listing agreement, and they don't send an executed, like, I'm gonna be kind of like detail oriented on this. Like, if they don't send me the executed listing agreement back, is that valid or are they violating? Is the agent violating? Like, you know, I signed, I'm the homeowner, I signed your listing agreement, lady, and we're good, right? Like, I just signed it and that's it. Aren't they supposed to send something back?
Yes.
Showing that it's
Yeah, at the bottom of a listing agreement, it shows that it was executed and delivered back, how it was delivered. And they're supposed to sign off on when that was done and sign it and give the seller a completed executed copy on that date. And then they have it and a copy for themselves. They used to be that the broker had to sign off on it. But the state has also changed that now to reflect that the agent can be an authorized agent to do so. Some brokerages won't allow their agents to do that though, and will require the broker to sign it and return it. But
so it would be a violation if they don't return it. Like, is it
Yeah.
active? Like,
oh yeah,
like-
that's a state law. Yeah. Mhm.
okay, so that's pretty important, as you know, as investors, right? You're kind of going through this. Ask them if they got it, the executed. If it's not on the thing executed, that's a violation, guys, right? So now you could go back to the agent, you can put a complaint with the board or a state complaint that it's not a valid listing. I know, you know, like agents, I'm just gonna say, are sometimes lazy, right? I mean, you guys have seen, you know, on that end of like mistakes or, oh, it's not a big deal. I don't know, whatever people want to think on it. So like as an agent, some of you guys are agents, or you're picking up listings, or you're an investor team, right? You're part of a power team and you're the agent on the power team. You have to make sure these little details can make a big difference on whether you have the deal or not a deal. On that, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
No,
was
you're good.
multitasking, looking at the questions too. Sorry.
Don't worry, I got the questions. Well, I'll get to them. You don't have to worry about anything, Michelle.
Okay.
So you can tell Michelle and Lady, they're used to fixing stuff all the time, all those control
Yeah, I'm
issues.
like trying to answer them and
Yeah, let go of the wheel, Michelle. Let go of the wheel.
I know. Can I answer one of them though? Because
Yeah,
there's an
for it.
Sandra asked, because she said that she's with the local United Realty and, you know, that you mentioned United Realty in Texas. And I just wanted to explain the difference between the two. I mean, I know you kind of did, but United Real Estate is our parent company now that we house our license under, and they are totally different, different owners, different systems, different, you know, different fees and so forth, as United Realty Group. United Realty Group is a local company that started quite some years ago as well. But we are totally separate, and I'm sure Anish is involved with United Realty Group as far as their agents and so forth in the investment side, but they're not under the same umbrella as here. So I'm just
Yeah,
answering it that way, I
absolutely.
hope.
Yeah, we're basically, think of it, it's two different companies. We're not affiliated at all.
Mhm.
That's the easiest way I could say it. So the other thing is, like, you know, with agents, you know, I just out of curiosity, how many agents, obviously I work with investors, are you seeing a lot of the agents, you know, in our organization working with investors, or, you know, do you get any kind of feedback? They're like, oh, they always lowball. I don't know, like, I know what I usually get, but I don't, it's, you guys have a bird's eye view with so many agents. Like, what are some of the, I don't want to say, we could say complaints that agents have working with investors? Have you heard anything that drives them nuts?
I think the low ball, like you just said, that of course is one issue that agents have. However, listen, and this kind of touches on another one of those questions in there. One of the complaints that we have had is agents that send out a whole bunch of offers and just to see what sticks. You know what I mean? And they're agents, but they're investors that are doing that. And then they just send it out. They try to see what's going to stick as far as offers, and they're trying anything and everything. And then when you have a seller who really wants to take that offer, and then they're non-responsive. So that is one of the biggest complaints that we get from about investors from agents, is the ones that are just throwing things out to see what sticks and don't respond. And then the second complaint, we do have agents that, to answer an anonymous question in there, we do have agents that will purchase and wholesale properties, but the agents that we allow to do that are the ones that are doing it, I'm sorry to say, but the right way. Okay. Because there are wrong ways and right ways to do it. Obviously there's MLS rules and regulations as far as advertising listings when you're already under contract and there are still in the system. So, you know, when someone's doing it the right way, we're okay with it. But if they're not doing it the right way, we don't allow it. So there's my answer on that one. But because that's the biggest complaint is violations of you know, photo rules, and you know, and then you've got a seller that's upset with you as the listing agent if a wholesaler is putting it out there for more money. Why didn't I get that much money, right? So
actually, I'm going to kind of touch on this because again, you know, some of you guys are agents and investors. What is the problem if I go to a homeowner, right? Lady's the homeowner, and I go for a listing, and then I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to buy it myself. Like I know people are asking about the conflict, right? So, and it's okay, you can wear two different hats. But the problem is that, you know, if lady says, yeah, I won't take, you know, can we list this? You know, I'm thinking 240 on that stuff, but I'm willing to take 200 because I'm moving and, you know, I'm running away, and, you know, I'll take 200. And I went and approached her as a listing, and then I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and buy it for two. Like, I know like the conflict of like having a license and you're not clear on who you are in the transaction. I don't know how else to say that. What's the problem that you see in that scenario, right? Like I said, yeah, she'll take 200 and as the listing. So I don't know if you want to kind of talk about that, because I could see investors kind of, well, I'd just rather, you know, I can make more money doing this versus a commission.
I don't know if lady wanted to say anything on this or not, but I honestly, here's the thing. When you get your real estate license, you agree to protect the public. And so hearing someone or hearing a seller say, oh, you know, yeah, I'll list it, but you know, I'm really ready to get rid of it for 200, you know, and you know it's worth 240. You need to protect the public. I mean, you don't go in and buy it, because then if that seller finds out that you could have sold it definitely for 240 and you just lost them that money, they could come after you for not representing them in the professional way. So it's a hard pill to swallow. I know, because you know that you could do it, but if you say you listed it for 240 and there's nothing coming up, and so you offered the 200 and she took it because you're not taking a commission and you're not doing this or that, you know, then it's a little different. I would say that it wouldn't look like you were taking advantage of the public in that way, because you're not trying to have your cake and eat it too, so to speak, right?
Right. I think the big thing is, and I know I always hear you guys always tell us, like, just disclose it, right? The problem becomes when you don't disclose, right? So if it's in those additional terms or the addendum that it's, you know, very clear that, you know, my attitude is that if I had to get in front of the judge, is it very clear on that, right? Do they really know what's happening versus, you know, as a real estate, you know, when you get your, you know, an agent license, you're the expert, right? So that's why you always have to disclose. So I think it's always like, I'd rather over disclose, if that makes sense, on that end of it versus under disclose, because it's never a problem until when it's a problem. That's probably what I would say. Have you guys seen people, I mean, we're not going to use names or anything, where they've lost their license, or it doesn't have to be an organization, or maybe I'll use, you know, they were in our organization and you politely ask them to move their license to somewhere else because of, you know, maybe because they were investors or they were doing, I don't know, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, we've politely asked some to leave.
Do you want to talk? I mean, obviously we're not using names or specifics.
Yeah,
but
I mean, listen, I mean,
like a
the
scenario
bottom line,
why.
I touched on it a bit, you know, I mean, obviously sending out the multitude of offers and not disclosing that you're an agent, or having for lack of better words, having a boiler room of people working for you sending out these offers that you're supposed to be reviewing, but you don't know anything about, and they're putting your name on them as the licensee / investor that's buying them. That's a big problem, because you know, the public, they see Charles Rutenberg Realty, you know, or they see, you know, whatever brokerage you're with, so they're going to call that broker, and the broker needs to be up to speed on what you're doing, and it's unlicensed activity too. So so we've asked people to leave because they were doing their investments a little different than we would like to see, and we've reported licenses too. I mean, listen, we're not going to have our license be at risk, because obviously, like you said, we have over 1,000 agents underneath our license here. So we have to make sure that we maintain our license legally, and don't get into trouble, to protect all the license underneath us. So
Yeah. Lady, you got anything to add to that, or did she kind of any bad things, or not bad things, but as a broker?
Like she said, yeah, we reported people, we terminated people because they weren't doing the the right things. So yeah, we just want to protect everybody, the public, our company, our licenses, all the realtors licenses. So just be ethical and professional. That's what we
What about I know obviously we have so many agents and stuff. There must be some people that do like commercial, like multifamily. The laws are a little bit different on that end of it. Have you seen anything? Is there something that, like, hey, I specialize in multifamily or commercial. Have you guys any best practices or anything that they should know? That's because it is obviously different between residential and commercial. Do you guys have anything to maybe add on that portion?
Well, we don't have a ton of agents that specialize in commercial. Over the years, we just haven't had a whole bunch here, but we have a few that really do, and so we recommend that you work with one of them to make sure that they adhere to all the commercial guidelines, because unfortunately, Lady nor I are really versed in commercial per se. So our agents will that have been in the business for a multitude of years will gladly assist. I haven't had any real big issues with commercial, and I don't think Lady has either come across.
Yeah, the disclosures are different, just so you guys know, on the commercial end of it. I've sold multifamily, bought multifamily, letter of intent, also the due diligence is totally different. A lot of times, if you're not even using a traditional commercial contract, you're actually working with a real estate attorney, because it's super specific, is what I'll tell you. So, like, just in case, because people always ask me the same thing on that portion, like, oh, what about the commercial? I really want to do this on that end of it. So it's again, and within that commercial conversation, it's different between multifamily, industrial, buying businesses, like those are all niches within it. So it's hard to be well adverse at all of it. Like going, oh, I want to do commercial. I'm like, well, which part?
And also, Anish, it's also a different, for lack of better words, a different animal as far as the mentality of the agents in the commercial arena. Typically, typically they don't like to pay commission. So, they don't like to pay cooperating commission. So there's sellers that are extremely versed in the whole process as well. So they try to cut out a realtor as well. So just so you know, if
Yeah, it's dog eat dog. I mean, it's a different
Yeah.
world, and they really know if you're new or not. I'm just telling you guys, because if you're new to real estate, I'd take baby steps. That's my own personal. Unless you actually have a mentor or an assistant, that's someone that's taking you under their wing. That's totally different. But to just jump into something like that, it's always a little bit challenging when it comes to that too. So some best practices I could tell you, also working as an investor and as an agent. A lot of times as an investor, and if you guys are realtors on this call and you have a good property that makes sense, I mean, I'm a cash buyer, I will gladly give you both sides of the commission. I could, if I'm making money on the house and I'm going to fix it, I'm going to make a bunch of money. I think realtors work way too hard sometimes for their money, right? You could keep both sides. And I think that's some of the advantages, like, and I'll tell you again, as a real estate investor and as an agent, is that when an investor sends an offer, make sure it's a complete offer. And this is what I mean by that, right? The contract's fully filled out correctly. Proof of funds, right? If you're paying cash, or if you have an approval with a hard money guy, attach it. The other things that I would also add is, if you're buying it in your corporation or LLC, put your articles of incorporation. What I have to tell you is, if I have to chase after you getting all these things, I'm just like, this person's not serious. So it is a complete offer on that portion. What do you, it's funny because, owning the RIA, we also have, I know RIA owners in like smaller places. So I'll pick Ohio just because Michelle's from Ohio. Have you seen where people like agents or investors wrote letters with their offer saying, hey, my family wants to buy this house on that? And I've seen actually, and I might be, don't quote me on this, I want to say it's Wisconsin or one of the states, they won't even let you write those letters to, like, it violates, I don't know if Ohio's like that. You know what I'm talking about? Saying, on that portion, do you know anything? Like, have you guys had any?
Yeah. So National Association of Realtors actually is discouraging those letters across
Like
the board.
Sweetheart letters.
Across
sweetheart
the
letters, or
sweetheart love letters, because then you get into fair housing issues. And that's the main thing, is that are they because they said this or that, are they discriminating or not? So that's why they don't want those letters at all. So across the nation, so they've discouraged it. There are areas that have actually said that they're illegal to give, but Florida is not one of them. But they just discourage you from presenting offers with that. So
yeah, so because I was laughing because I actually know an investor in one of those states that they included an email letter or whatever you want to call on that end of it to try to get them to sell the house.
Yeah.
On that portion, I was like, wow, I kind of joke about it. I said, here in South Florida, if I got one of those, that goes right in the trash. Like, I don't even, I'm not going to even acknowledge, that letter on that. I didn't know, like, I'd probably violate fair house. For me personally, I wouldn't know, but now I know. That's what.
Well, more during the last couple of years, Anish, with the market the way it was going, where you're getting 20 to 40 offers on one property, those letters started coming back. And sometimes it wasn't even the agents doing it. Sometimes it was the buyers themselves writing a card and delivering it to a mailbox saying, please select my offer. That's how serious it was getting. I mean, if you're a realtor at that time, in case, for those of you that are not and were investors and were trying to buy stuff during that time as well, I'm sure you saw, you go to a show, when they put something on the market, you'd get to that place and there'd be a line around the corner to get in. Or someone would only do open houses, because it was during COVID, so they were only doing an open house for this time to this time or whatever, and you would literally have lines around the corners. That's what I was hearing from people, that they were waiting in lines to get into houses, and that's crazy, just crazy. So.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, as I said, like in our market, that's not something, that you want to do, or I mean, in general. So I was just kind of curious on that end of it too. So I know, Sandra, you're asking what's the pros and cons of being an investor versus a licensed agent and investor. So you want to go ahead, Michelle? I'll let you, and I'll answer it too. So, or lady, you guys gotta.
I mean, I would say that your pros are going to be that you have that as a licensee, representing yourself as a buyer or as a seller, you have the ability, if you're with a firm like us, of course, you have the ability to waive that commission. So you're increasing your bottom line on that, return. And I think that you're also expanding your sphere of influence on your listings when you have them, instead of just putting out a sign for sale by owner and hoping that, somebody comes by. In the market that we've been in, it's been great. You could have probably been flourishing as far as putting a sign in, but there's ebbs and tides in real estate that go like this. So there's always going to be a change. So the more by being a licensed professional, I think it betters you as an investor. So,
well, I'm going to add the second end of it, right? Like if you're actually fixing houses, and you guys have been watching our webinars, we keep telling you, keep building your cash buyers list. Well, if you put it on the MLS, right, sometimes we'll sell it on a buyers list, and sometimes I'll just throw it on the MLS. It just gets to more people. So it does help out in that way. It's just another exit strategy. I know someone was asking what's it cost. I think to get your license, oh my God, it's been so long. So what does like a school like Gold Coast or whatever is a couple $100, right? Or
yeah, I have 400 to 500. I put in the chat. I believe we put in the chat, but I definitely put it in the Q&A. We have an actual website. It's crr.theceshop.com. If you go to that website, that you can get you take your class there, and we always are promoting new promo codes. So just today's the 26th. It was just Wednesday. We had a promo code that was good for 40% off. So you could get 40% off the course price, and the course price on CE Shop, I want to say, is only a few $100. So we also have continuing education classes on there, your broker classes on there. So please take advantage of going there and taking your class there, unless you want to go in person. So
right, and also like to have access to, depending on the board, is it $800? I always get $8 for the MLS for the board. I don't know. I've got an automatic, so I'm terrible at this stuff. So I think it's around 800. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, it's approximately between $700 to $800 for the year. They do prorate the year, but yeah, that's approximately how much.
Yeah. So if you're licensed, right, you're getting your license, you just build that cost. It's going to cost you 800. At least this year it's 800. Might go up a little bit per year to keep your license active. There's always continuing education every 18 months that you need also. After your first one, there's a different continuing education. So
yeah, the
I don't know. I would
first one is 45 hours, and then after that, it's every 2 years, 14 hours.
So I would budget, I don't know, to keep your license active, like $1,200-1,300 a year, right? Is that fair? Can I say that maybe? On that portion?
I mean, obviously we'd like to see those board prices come down, but they just keep adding more tools for you, which is one thing I wanted to mention. The board offers tools for agents. There's another pro of being an agent. I mean, I know that you have through the Investor Association, Anish, you have REIFax, right? But then the board also has Revo Gateway. So there's other different programs that they offer that you can find out, what's happening to those properties, if there's foreclosures, if there's divorces, if there's whatever, that may be more apt to get into, a first
Right.
investment. Mhm.
And basically what Michelle's saying, it's already included. That's the
Yeah.
point, right? So sometimes I've done that. I've used ReFax, then I check the MLS, I'll check different things just to make sure the data's, like my numbers make sense. It's probably the easiest way to mention that. So I think that's a, important concept. So for $1,200, the other cool thing is the industry average, right, is probably a 25% referral fee. Am I right? 25. I know you can negotiate whatever you want, I guess, but
Yeah,
I usually get 25%.
Yeah, 25 is usually the industry average, but I've been seeing 30% more so too. So, and then and then we have lead programs that take 35% too. So
Okay.
just to throw
Yeah.
that out.
So the point is, if you have a license and you don't want to be driving people around and all of that stuff, but your next door neighbor or this, or you could always refer agents, whether, obviously we have a big hole down here in South Florida, you could call Michelle or Lady, and, as an agent, they could work out a referral thing and try to tie you into a local agent too. Also in other states, I think that's always, the idea is it will help mitigate your cost on your realtor license, is what I'm really saying. It's probably in case you don't want to be a realtor.
Yeah, we also actually even have a referral company. So say they wanted to have the license so they could use that referral compensation as a reduction in the purchase or whatever, and have an actual agent, kind of represent them on the deal. They can hang their license in our referral company. It's only $100 a year, and they don't have to be a license. They don't have to join the board, but they're not able to practice, right? So they can only refer themselves to a licensed realtor. So.
Yeah, exactly. So again, I agree, like you should do both. What I will tell you though, like on the investor side, like you don't need to have a license to be a real estate investor. Just so you guys know, I get that question. One of the challenges I also tell people, like, they want to be an investor and an agent at the same time. I'm like, good luck. Like you're trying to learn two industries at the exact same time. Like how many people do you know that want to be a doctor and a dentist at the same time? So pick one, get good at it, and then add the other, right? Or if you're building your power team, maybe you're the licensed agent on the team, right? You have partners that are investor partners. You have money partners, right? You have title company partners. The idea, if you really want to expand your business and real estate in general, you need a team, right? I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on, because we constantly talk about with the RIA having a power team on that portion. And what do you guys think about, if you were going to interview a realtor, right? You guys are been brokers for a long time on that portion. Is there certain questions that you may ask? Or I know you're more on the, obviously on the broker side, like above. Is there any things that you would ask an agent? Like if I was, I wanted them to be on my team as an investor, like to be.
If I was interviewing an investor to be on my team, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or how about the other way around? I'm actually the investor and
Uh-huh.
I'm interviewing agents to be on my team.
Oh,
Anything that you would have the investor ask? Like, how do I know, I'm not going to use my cousin, Joey, to be the agent because he got his license, right? That's how you.
well, obviously, I think they need to know, you're going to ask them of how long they've been doing it. I'm sorry, to say that the more years they've been in it, typically the more seasoned they are, the more ideas they have onto how get you to the deal. So you want someone who's going to be proactive. What type of programs do they already utilize to find you results, right? So you need an agent that's going to utilize these programs to find you the deals. Do they know how to call expired listings? Have they done that in the past? Those are different things, I mean, that I think I would ask if I was the investor wanting to get an agent. I'd say, what are you going to do to find me the best deals out there. I mean, what programs are you going to use? Do you have a sphere that you already have? Is there a market that you already work? What areas have you done business in that you can give me the best rate of return on my money?
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a way, like, let's say I'm looking, I don't know, I'll pick Coral Springs, and you're an agent. Is there a way to figure out like who's been selling the most? Are there tools, whoever sold the most houses in Coral Springs, or zip code, or transactions, or?
Yeah, there's programs out there that you can see the trends in there, and then you can also, there's tools that the board provides to see who's likely to sell, what neighborhoods are likely to sell, and so forth. And so that's, again, a benefit of being an agent. If you have paid attention to all the tools that they're providing to you for that realtor fee that you're paying every year, you're going to find out those tools that can help you expand your business that way. So
What about I know I'm jumping all over the place because we're almost done out of time, but so one of the things, like, what do you think about like the big boys in the room, right? Let's talk about the Z company, Zillow, Redfin, right? Realtor.com, whatever you want to, like, for the newbies or the people that don't know, if I find a listing, right, or I'm looking on Zillow, any of those companies, you can pick any of them, and I have an agent on it, does that mean it's their listing? How does that work?
Okay, so these great companies that were very innovative in getting out there into the internet and charging people for posting their listings, okay, they also charged agents to be a part of their program. And so not necessarily do you, when you come across the listing on Zillow and you see this agent's name on there, not necessarily is that the listing agent. You have to specifically look for the words that say listed by, because they will, they charge agents to get leads, so they can get their leads from Zillow, Redfin, whatever, to post their photos and stuff on their site. So I think that's what you're asking me, Anish, is are they really the listing agent? Not always. The IDX rules and regulations and RETS feeds regulations that all have to provide access to whoever is the listing broker and proper acknowledgement to the listing broker. So you can always find out that information by really looking at it. So don't call the Zillow person that says Zillow Premier Agent and think that you're talking to the listing broker. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because a lot of people always thought that, oh yeah, that it must be their listing, and it's not. And if you call them and you're already working with let's say you have your own agent and it's going to be a nightmare because they're going to ask you, are you working? So just a little tidbit on that portion. And what about, right? Let's talk about contracts for a little bit, right? The Florida FAR as is and all the addendums. So what happens if you're not a licensed agent? I always have Kevin that always talks about this too at Independence Title. And you're not an agent, but you're using a FAR as is contract because my friend is an agent on that end of it.
Please don't use the FAR as is contract. That is a form designed by attorneys and realtors for realtors. And unfortunately, it has been broadcasted out in the past, and people are using it everywhere, or realtors provide it to other people. No, you need a realtor to fill that out and make sure to explain that to you. So please do not use that.
The only way around it, and I'm not going to say around it, they do. There's a company called altastar.com.
Correct.
So they do offer a licensing agreement to use the tools. So that's okay. So really what Michelle's, what we're talking about, the FAR contract is copyrighted. So you are violating copyright rules. And again, I know people use it on that. All it takes is one person to like, how did you get this? Are you licensed? And then what do you mean now you are licensed and you didn't disclose? Great job already, right? So you're just going to check mark on stuff like that. So those are just some best practices out there that you want to make sure you know, that you're getting these kind of tidbits too. So I'm just going to run through some quick questions. I know Alfred has a selling time period increase. It has, depending on price. At the end of the day, if it's priced right, it sells right. It sells right away. I've gotten offers within, in this market, rehab the house, I got an offer in 1 day. So like if you're out there fishing, it's like everything else, right? Like, are there enough people? So if it's priced right, I'm gonna just say it works out well. Marshall, yeah, do realtors work with mortgage brokers to get the best terms? The best thing is if you're a realtor, have a mortgage broker on your team that knows what they're doing. If you've been actually on our meetings and we've done webinars, Smart Home Loans, Jason Clark, he's been in there for 20 years. He's fantastic. I've been licensed for 20 some years, but I'm not practicing doing mortgages. We do have vendors within our organization that are excellent at mortgages, that are very experienced out there. And Marshall, yes, there are HELOCs first position with a 30-year amortization. Jason Clark, Smart Home Loans, go to BPM RIA, and that will actually get you there too. So let me see, and let's see. Andrea, I'm confused with the answer. If a client has the luxury of waiting for a property to go through the MLS, which could take a lot longer than investor buying and closing 2 days, that justifies the price of 200 from 240. I know I kind of talked about that scenario. The easiest I could tell you is it depends, meaning it depends on, you know, hey, you know, I could wait for that 240 price today, but something happened, right? Or the house is in disrepair. There's a lot of moving parts, right? Sometimes the person's approved, but the house is not financeable. It's got mold, the roof damage. So it kind of depends on that portion. What we're saying is make sure you disclose what's happening up front on that. You can't be like, oh yeah, I could buy it for this, because now what Michelle is talking about, you actually have information that it's not really, it's advantageous to you versus you're actually supposed to be representing the client. It's probably what I'll probably leave it at that terms on that. So we're almost out of time actually. So couple things. Any last words that, so I'll first of all, if you guys are licensed and you're not happy where you're at, I'll start with that, right? Give Michelle and Lady a call. You could grill them. Lady obviously told you I've been with them for 17 years. I cheated on them and I came back. So I've been faithful for about the last 10 plus years on that portion. So obviously, if I did not trust these guys, my license wouldn't be with them. Is number one. They are fantastic. They're probably the most responsive brokers and team that I've ever been. I've been in large organizations. Even here at our RIA, I'm like, man, how in the heck do they do it? So their service is probably, I don't know, like 1 out of 10, I'd give it a 15 on that portion. You could easily also get the brokers. You could get Lady or Michelle on the phone pretty easily, like, you know, which is kind of scary. You know, I don't know how you guys do that. But any last words that you guys, Michelle, Lady, that, you know, that you would want to, I don't know, tell our audience?
Well, I saw that Sandra had asked some questions about Charles Rutenberg, so I just wanted to just quickly say, you know, yes, we do offer leads. We have 2 different lead programs here currently, Op City and Prime Street, which those are both leads that they can pay a 35% referral fee back to the provider upon closing. We charge per transaction. I think we covered that, the $350. There is no additional charge. Okay. The monthly fee is $35. And do we offer CE classes? Well, we offer the CE shop access, and then we also have training classes here continuously. We have a class here almost every day of the week, or not, if it's not here, it's on Zoom available. And we talked about the wholesaling, and we have our own filing system that that you can upload all of your stuff to, and so it's not required to have a hard copy. It's all paperless, mobile friendly. All of our systems are. We would love to have you all on board if you're getting licensed. If you have questions about getting licensed, you know, let us know. Lady, anything?
No, I think you covered it all.
Yeah, so I want to, before we end it, I know we also have a winner for the raffle. Again, our motto here at BPM RIA is real estate investing made simple. And, whatever's happening to the market, knock it off, right? Like at the end of the day, we think the market's good because we're doing deals. We're buying, we're selling, we're fixing, all the above, right? So don't listen to all the noise. Is it a good time? Is it a bad time? On that portion, the question I ask people is like, are you tired of being on the sidelines? Are you going to watch all your friends make money and do all these other things? And even through my own personal experience, my family wasn't very supportive in the beginning, right? They said, yeah, go back to your corporate job, and you tried it your way and all that stuff. And I kind of joke about it now. They're like, man, we knew you could do it. I'm like, where were those people, on that end of it? So, you have to look at it. We have an unbelievable opportunity down here in South Florida. People are still moving down here. I looked at numbers like on Open Table, and they're talking about restaurants. The South Florida market, the reservations for restaurants are up 35%. It's the best in the country. What that means is there's a lot of people moving down here with a lot of disposable income. And if you start learning the short-term business, we've been doing a lot of different webinars. The answer is yes, right? Should I get into real estate? All that stuff, be in action. And I want to commend you guys to even be, Friday morning, hopping on a webinar with Michelle and Lady and myself to chat about what it's like being a realtor is step number one. Step number two is be in action, whether you want to get your license. Yeah, go ahead and do it. You want to be an investor, think about our quick start. And the answer is you could do both and be good at it too. So Alexa, I know we have a winner. Who is the lucky person?
Our lucky winner he is still in the webinar right now. Congratulations, Julio A. I know there's a lot of Julios, but Julio A, congratulations. I will send you an email after this webinar, and we're going to get you a membership. Woo-hoo.
Absolutely. Nice job. Hey, Julio. And
Yay.
also, if you guys could help us out, I know Alexa will send out an email. If you could give us a 5-star Google review, my social media team, my SEO team, they all bust my chops on that. If you don't want to say anything nice things about me, at least you could say nice things about Michelle and Lady, and give us a 5-star review. And also, if you think it's advantageous to have these guys as brokers in our industry with, combined, I don't know, 40, 50 years of experience in real estate, I'd love to do another webinar, and we could even make it more topic specific. If you let us know, just email Alexa or myself. This is always fun. Again, it's just pretty casual. And the cool thing is why we do these, open forums to an extent is that, I could call Michelle, I stop by the office, and we'll have these conversations on that portion. So I can't, I'm not a broker, and God knows I make enough mistakes on different things, and they still like me. But that's why I have experts like these guys, and that's the importance of having a power team too. So thank you guys very much. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy happy hour. Our next event is Wednesday, right? Alexa,
Tuesday.
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 Yeah, so Tuesday, we will see you Tuesday. And then, have a great weekend. Thanks,
Thank
Michelle.
you so much.
Thank
you,
you.
Lady. Thank you, Michelle. Have a
Feel
great
free to
day,
reach out for
everyone.
Any questions, all of you, okay? So,
Absolutely. Look out for a follow-up email from me right after this webinar. I'll be in touch with all of you guys. So thank you. Have a great day.
bye. Thanks, Anish.
Thanks.
Thanks, Alexa.
Bye. Thank you.